All right, we're joined now by Joe Fonzi, weekend sports anchor at KTVU in the San Francisco Bay Area. Hi, Joe. Nice to talk to you.
Michelle, good to talk to you. It's been a little while.
It has been a while. Of course, you were at the Niners camp this week. What's the vibe like out there for the Niners?
Well, some of the things are things that you would expect people to say, you know, over and over again. Obviously, this rivalry has intensified through the years, and what I couldn't help noticing this weekend, obviously, with the fact that it's an NFC championship game, there's national media, there's Seattle media, there's people that aren't normally at the 49er headquarters. So some of the stuff is kind of old news, the two coaches and the kind of chippiness between the two teams, and some of it's a little bit new. What do the 49ers have to do on defense? What do the Seahawks have to do? How do these two teams match up? Both have strong front sevens. So, as always in a game of this magnitude, things will be probably overanalyzed, and then it might be something that we're not anticipating that ends up deciding the game.
Of course, you kind of touched base on it, but it's no secret these two teams don't like each other. What did the 49ers have to say about that?
Well, that's what they're asked, and they're honest about it, and they say, obviously the familiarity of it, you see them twice a year anyway, and in this case they're going to see each other for a third time this year. And as in with anybody in your division, when you see them, you know a lot about them, especially when you have an intense rivalry. There's a lot of talk that's happened between the two teams on the field, and it's not so much a matter of they don't like them. It's just a matter of they know the intensity of the rivalry, and they know that you got to bring the very best game that you have moving forward, and you know that your opponent's going to do that, and that makes for a kind of, I guess, healthy competition. And along with that, if you're someone who wants to win, then yeah, you don't like the other guys any week, but especially ones that you see twice a year.
How is this 49ers team a different team from week 2 when the Seahawks saw them in Seattle?
Well, the most obvious is that Michael Crabtree is on the team now, which he was unhealthy back then. And I want to say Patrick Willis, I'm trying to remember if he was healthy even back then. Mm-hmm. Their offense has matured. Colin Kaepernick has, at that time he had not even had a full season of NFL starts, so he only has a year and a half under his belt now. Their defense is as strong as anybody ever thought it would be. And I think the thing that they have going for them right now is they do have kind of a us against the world mentality. They've had to go out and do it the hard way, win in Green Bay in those conditions, go on the road to Carolina. I think they're accustomed to going out on the road right now. This will be their 4th straight game on the road if you include the final regular season game against Arizona. All 3 opponents who had something to play for, and they've won in tough venues 3 weeks in a row. So I think they feel like they have some momentum. They feel like everybody knows how tough it is to play up in Seattle, but I think it won't be a shock to them because it's something that they've experienced, maybe not in the same intensity, but it is something they've experienced for 3 weeks in a row now.
What would you say is the biggest challenge the Niners are going to have to face? Of course, there is the 12th man with that noisy crowd, but if you had to say a biggest challenge, what would it be?
Well, I think the noise, obviously, and that's a given. And so what that means on offense is, it minimizes the things you can do verbally. You can't do many audibles. You're going to have to do the hand signals, all those kinds of things. And again, they've had 3 weeks to kind of practice that. But I think Russell Wilson just creates. He's such a unique quarterback, and everybody knows what their receivers are about. Everybody knows what their secondary's about. But I think when you have Russell Wilson on the other side of the ball, number one, he can extend plays, and his ability to do that really puts pressure, I think, the most pressure on the linebackers, because they're in their zone, they're looking around for guys underneath, and then when he extends a play, then a linebacker has a very difficult decision to make. Do I come up and try to make a tackle on him? And if he's not across the line of scrimmage, then he can throw the ball over my head, and now I got a guy running in the open field. And if you stay back with a guy you're trying to cover, and then he takes off running, then you got a guy running in the open field that way. So I think he puts the most pressure on the 4 linebackers, which is one of the strengths of the 49ers. They have 3 guys this year that are Pro Bowlers, and Aldon Smith in the past has been a Pro Bowler. So that's a good matchup, in my opinion, to watch is Russell Wilson in space, and then those 4 Pro Bowl caliber linebackers for the 49ers. For me, that's an interesting matchup to watch.
Oh, last one for me, Joe. Just keys to a San Francisco victory.
Well, I'm not saying anything that, that I'm breaking any ground here, but the 49ers, for their offense to be effective, they have to have Frank Gore getting some yards on the ground. They have to have that, and that just opens everything up for them. And I think really one of the keys to this game is to see how the officials are calling things in the secondary. And the 49ers have been on both extremes of that in the last 2 weeks. In Green Bay, they pretty much let them play. There were guys getting mugged all the way down the field, and there were no calls. And then against Carolina, the plays were called much tighter than that in terms of holding and interference and things like that. So obviously that Seattle secondary, very physical, and if the tone is set early on that, they can get away with some stuff, then that may influence how the game goes. If the tone is set early on, hey, you can't grab the guys and be all over them on arm bars more than 5 yards downfield, and if they're going to call it tight, then that could influence the outcome of the game. To me, how that is dictated from the beginning might be instrumental in the game as well.
Joe Fonzi, thank you for your time. Enjoy that warm California weather right now before you make the trip to Seattle.
It's a little too warm, actually. We need some rain so that people can water their lawns. And should we tell people about your history here with us?
Oh, you can. Feel free. Go ahead. I got nothing to hide. I told him I was 19 and hanging out at your desk, and, the rest is history.
You better clarify that
Yeah.
you were a college intern here playing college softball, and we kind of all followed your career, and we kind of felt like we're very proud of how you've gone on and advanced in the business, and it's my pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, thank you, Joe.